Welcome to A Course in Business Miracles. This is Heather Dominic, creator of BusinessMiracles.com and founder and leader of the highly sensitive entrepreneur movement. Join me today for some genuine practical assistance and a business-altering and life-changing experience, a business miracle. This is A Course in Business Miracles, episode number 51, HSE Feature with Brianna Sylver. Welcome to this Business Miracles HSE Feature episode. I am just really thrilled to be featuring Brianna Sylver as a member of the Business Miracles community and as a highly sensitive entrepreneur. Brianna, aside from being a valued member of the Business Miracles community, is the founder and president of Sylver Consulting, an international innovation research and strategy firm operating at the intersection of market research, user experience design, and strategy. Brianna and the team at Sylver support Fortune 500 organizations to lead the transformation of their brands, products, and organizations by providing clarity and focus to the next steps of their growth. Brianna has gained recognition for her contributions to the fields of innovation, design thinking, UX and consumer insights by the Product Development and Management Association, PDMA, HSM Management, Brazil, and the Qualitative Research Consultants Association, QRCA. She writes and speaks on topics such as the integration of UX and MR, innovation culture and transformation, blended hybrid research methodologies, and entrepreneurship. Listen in as I talk with Brianna, who intimately shares how in just 4 years, she went from being a 7-figure train wreck waiting to happen to now being more grounded and connected to what she wants and able to do it in a way that's truly scalable, systemic, and has the foundational infrastructure to support continued, sustainable HSE financial success and freedom that she did not have before. Welcome, Brianna. I am so happy to have you here as part of the Business Miracles podcast and to be featuring you as a successful, highly sensitive entrepreneur. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. It's a great pleasure.
Yay, fantastic. So I would love to just, start out by hearing just a little bit more about you. We just shared your official bio, but, tell us just a little bit more about you and the work you do as a highly sensitive entrepreneur.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So, as was communicated in that bio, really support Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 organizations to lead the transformation of their brands and offerings into the future. But more specifically, how I do that is really in 3 pillars of service. So one is looking at what is the purpose for enhancing brands. So basically, what is your reason for being? Why do you deserve to exist in the market landscape today? And really how to stay relevant over time. The second area is around filling innovation pipelines. So looking at both next gen as well as wholly new offerings that may be brought into the market, as well as also looking at potential innovation processes that are more culturally appropriate for your organization to bring in. And then the last pillar of service is really around aligning stakeholders around new visions for growth and basically aligning on next steps and accountability to make sure that things occur.
Beautiful. I love those 3 pillars of service that you've created. And it's been just so satisfying, mentoring you over these years because you are a highly sensitive entrepreneur in a more traditional arena of business and service. And it's just been like such a pleasure to see everything that you've created. So can you remember when we first connected and you first encountered A Course in Business Miracles and the HSE teachings that I share? When was that?
Yeah, it actually took me a while to figure this out the other day in preparation for this call. I was like, how long has it been now? But I was able to track it back. So I have been working with you since February of 2015. And more specifically, I came in contact through your 21-day course, which I don't even believe that you have anymore now. But your 21-day free course was what really kind of piqued my interest initially. And I said, okay, let me step in. And more specifically at that point in time, I was at a point of just, I'd been working with a business mentor, but I felt like the learning that I had been receiving from him had was coming to an end point, and I was needing something more that I hadn't even necessarily articulated what that more was at that point in time. And what had happened is through a listserv that I am on, I got like a little tidbit about this 21-day free course, and it was like 21 days for 21 minutes, completely no charge, right? And I was like, okay, and it was all, and in my time zone, it was 9 to 9:21 in the morning, and I was like, okay, this is good because I typically don't put things starting in my schedule until 9:30, just in case things don't go great from a kid perspective and, getting to work in the morning, and I'm not pressed and stressed with that. But I'm usually at work by 8:45. So it's like, this is like that perfect window that I can probably literally show up every day for those 21 days. And so that's what I did, and it was great.
Beautiful. And I love hearing, how the specificity of the 21 days really served you and made sense in terms of your time frame and time zone and still being able to take care of the family and all of those needs, because, those are all of the aspects of everything that we're always juggling as entrepreneurs, but definitely as highly sensitive entrepreneurs. And then I remember from the 21 days, you stepped into the 6-month mentoring program. And then from there into Elite, which is where you've been over these past few years. And I know right now you're specifically working on the curriculum track 3 as part of your Elite mentoring program. So what would you say the difference is that, this work and stepping from 21 days to 6 months to Elite and also being part of track 3 now, what's the difference that this has made for you and your business?
Oh, the differences are pretty massive. I mean, I would say where I was, at the time of, coming in contact with the 21-day course, I mean, I mentioned that I wasn't feeling sort of satisfied or fulfilled, but mentally I had, I think just that year prior, had basically achieved the highest level of income that I have had to date in my business. But in that process, I was completely exhausted. And even more, just really not feeling like I was showing up in any of the roles in the way that I truly wanted to. So I wasn't showing up, as a mom the way I wanted to. And I had, a fairly new baby at that point in time. I didn't feel like I was showing up as the businesswoman that I wanted to, or as the wife, or even showing up for myself in the way that I wanted to. And so, here I had achieved this great income goal, but definitely things were not in balance. And, my parents will tell you at this point that they felt I was a train wreck waiting to happen, essentially. And so, basically I think if I had to deduce or sort of bring it down to, 2 things that I've really gained from the whole journey of working with you since 2015 is I am much more grounded and connected to what I want, and being able to, now work back to those same income goals, but doing it in a way that's actually truly scalable and systemic. Whereas what had helped me to achieve that at that point in time was just working, not necessarily working smartly. And so, now I feel like I'm grounded, I'm connected, but more importantly, I've got the foundational infrastructure to really support scaling to that growth and beyond, again, in ways that I did not have before.
Yeah, beautiful. So well said. And I can definitely, identify and see so much of myself in you and that part of your story, really being able to create that significant financial success, but at a cost, right? Which, now I and you from the teachings really understand that you can do it from that coping mechanism of pushing, but it isn't sustainable. And I didn't realize that at the time when you and I first connected that your parents thought that you were like a train wreck waiting to happen, because there's been such, beautiful transformation since that time. And, as you just said, you've really stepped into your HSE strengths and you've really claimed a space within yourself, and then, also then within your work and within your industry, even though it might not be speaking it out loud, but you've claimed that space of being a spiritual leader, which I've seen really bring this, beautiful, not only balance, but like a level of real, genuine, grounded power. It's really, really powerful and beautiful to witness. But back to your parents, because it's so interesting, because that has also really been a part of your Business Miracles journey. Do you want to talk about that at all? And, and your dad attending a training retreat?
Yeah. Well, so it's funny. I mean, certainly my parents back in 2015 did not communicate that they felt that I was a train wreck waiting to happen from a balance perspective. But I think the other part that's important to sort of from a contextual standpoint to have in this is I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. And so, my parents owned a business for much of my young formative years. And so, they had personal firsthand experience around what it takes to really do well. And so, they were seeing me basically in some respects follow in their footsteps. And we're also seeing where that was unsustainable for them at one point, how that was likely to be unsustainable for me. But they did not necessarily voice that at that point in time. Really, where the voice of that came from was, so my mom passed away back in 2016, and my father ended up coming and living with me for 5 months soon after that. And so at that point, he really had the opportunity to sort of experience, how we were managing as a family, because my husband's in the business as well. And so how we were managing as a family, sort of running a business. And at the time we were building an office. It was fourth quarter, which is always busy in our business. And in the midst of all of that stuff going on, still showing up in full presence for our daughter, for our friends, for him, and everything. And so he, in the process of just sort of witnessing that for 5 months, he was just like, what in the world happened to go from here to here? And so, he and I had a lot of conversations. I mean, definitely talking about business and, all the challenges and successes of owning your own business is something that my father and I have always bonded around. And so we had a ton of conversations about this. And then, as part of your retreats in the past, you've been able to bring somebody, who would be a support to you as part of that. And my father at that point in time was just trying to figure out what he wanted to do. He was thinking he may start another small business on the side doing woodwork, because that's something he's always enjoyed. And so, I suggested to him, well, maybe you could come as a guest with me. And he jumped at the chance and said, absolutely, I want to do that. He's like, I'm not 100% sure I want a business, but I am just so curious about who this woman is who has been so influential in your life. And so that's what ultimately brought him to one of our business retreats. And, for him, it was an incredibly powerful experience, not only obviously to witness and sort of understand more intimately what has led to my transformation, but I think it's also been really interesting for him because definitely, I'm highly sensitive. My sister is, my mother was, now his girlfriend is. And so it just gave him more perspective, I think, really around why when he does certain things different ways, it doesn't work. It doesn't resonate, and gives him another perspective on potentially another way to approach that situation.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Well, that's definitely been another, aspect of your Business Miracles journey that's been so beautiful to watch. First, just the support that you received from the community, around the passing of your mom, and then the power of having your dad in the room at one of our Business Miracles training retreats, and to see, him come to this deeper level, of understanding of you and appreciation of you and appreciation of the work. It's, really beautiful. And it was a powerful experience for the entire community, too, to have your dad in the room. So I so appreciate that he attended that training retreat and that you invited him. It worked out so well. And so along those lines, what would you say has been a Business Miracles teaching, out of the teachings that I've created that has been most impactful for you? I know the training retreats are always powerful for you, but is there anything, that stands out from the training retreats, or just any of the teachings and tools in general?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few, but I would say that the two that are, I guess, sort of a continual grounding for me, if you will, or at least from a tool perspective. So the first is really the 30-day plan. I mean, at this point in time, honestly, I think I might physically combust if I didn't have that as a tool.
I hear you.
And because it really helps me to, kind of have that reality check of what really can be done. But even more than that, the fact that it's slotted, like I can slot whatever I've got to do. I can put it somewhere, and therefore, one, I can get it out of my head, which is great. Mm-hmm. But two, like when somebody says, "Oh, Brianna, when can I get this from you?" Like I already know where it's at. So I'm like, "Oh, I've got that on my calendar to do on Thursday. You'll have that back to you then." And so that it all really works incredibly well. And that's also a really good tool for me because I have a team of 10 people. And so as I'm starting to look at what needs to happen and I start to get the reality check of what I can do and what I can't do, where things I may already have on my plate, I look to what from this list can I delegate. And so, so that is also really helpful in that regard. So that's just sort of a day-to-day management tool that I find incredibly helpful. And then, of course, energy management, but that's just sort of a baseline default, I think, as being part of your programs. Like if you got to just do that, right?
You do.
And then,
as a highly sensitive who wants to be an entrepreneur, you do. Yes.
Right. I mean, you don't even need to talk about that one. The other one that's really, I think, super powerful for me, and I have just loved the addition of this in the program is the Diamond Plan. The ability to truly plan from the heart and not the head. Like I remember the very first time we did that, I was so uncomfortable. As I think most of the community
you weren't
was.
the only one in the room. Everyone was like, "What? What are we doing?"
Yeah, it was so uncomfortable. But that was, I believe, the time when I literally got the hit that I needed to rise as a spiritual leader, and was so uncomfortable with that concept I wasn't even able to put voice to it, but certainly have evolved along the continuum on that. But what I also love about the Diamond Plan, and I mean, what has been really fascinating for me to sort of witness now, once you change to not revenue that you would bring in from Diamond Plan to Diamond Plan, but the number of clients or projects, whatever was more relevant for your business. What has been really fascinating for me is every single time I have literally booked the exact number of projects from training retreat to training retreat as has ended up on that plan. And literally sometimes it happens the hour before I go into session.
I love it. I did not know that in terms of that hour before, so I love hearing that additional information, from you. That's so great, so great. I love that the tools that really speak to you, are the more outer tools, but the fact that, the way that I've designed like the 30-day plan and the Diamond plan are to really be able to support more of how we operate as highly sensitive entrepreneurs. And I really appreciate that you mentioned that you felt really uncomfortable the first time we did the Diamond plan, because the Diamond plan is about me teaching how I plan more from heart and intuition. And that one is not necessarily an easy teaching, to deliver. And two, definitely understand how uncomfortable that feels at first, even though that is how we work at our best as highly sensitives, and so I appreciate that you have the evidence that has really shown that. It's so fantastic and kind of probably sounds like a no-brainer, but if you can even speak to or recall like just the feeling, like how does it feel different when you create a Diamond plan versus perhaps like how you planned before you were even part of, Business Miracles? Can you kind of remember that before and connect it to the after?
Well, yeah, I think it's really, if I had to kind of just put it in one soundbite, it's really allowing your intuition to shine. Because, I would say, before being part of Business Miracles and, understanding sort of what the strengths of a highly sensitive are, certainly I always knew that I had strong intuition, and I honored that, not nearly to the scale in which I do today. But I would say when it came to planning, intuition didn't really show up in that process. It was more the outward, external aspects of what are the projects going to look like? What are the types of clients I might want to serve? Like that type of stuff. It was more like that you could it felt more concrete, I guess, put it that way.
Yes.
But then now, and I would say, this goes across every aspect of how I really operate today, is really just saying, what is trying to bubble up from inside? What is the intuition saying? And then how do I bring that forward in a way that makes sense on the plan? And what's interesting is that I think the other aspect is, before if I were to put together a business plan, it would have only business stuff on that plan. Today, like the Diamond plan that I'm working on right now, it has things that are connected to obviously the business. It has things that are connected to my daughter and things that are connected to my husband.
Yeah.
In our personal relationship, not necessarily, all business relationship. It actually has both. Yes. But that would never have shown up on that plan before, yet, it's all connected, as you are well aware, and, sort of feeling whole in one place allows you to show up whole in another place. And so, honoring that has also been a huge shift and change for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So well said. And it is that discovery period of, oh, wait, this is a strength that I have, my intuition, but I didn't realize that it could have a place in something like business planning. And, when I allow it to have a place, it is going to bring in my whole experience. But again, that is how we operate best as highly sensitive entrepreneurs, is when we're, really consciously working with all aspects, of who we are and what's important to us. So I love hearing you speak to that. And I love just having the opportunity to hear, more deeply and personally how it's been working for you. So exciting. So if you had something to say to a highly sensitive who's listening and really kind of doubting that, they can absolutely have the financial success that they want while really honoring their highly sensitive needs, what would you say to them from your experience? What does your wisdom have to say to their doubt?
Well, I think, it kind of goes back to my earlier comment around sort of energy management as the baseline. I think a lot of times people jump in and want to figure out every other aspect of the business, but if you haven't managed your energy around it, and what you really truly want and need and get clear on that, then you're likely going to sabotage yourself in the process. One of the things that has become incredibly, I guess, more apparent to me after being part of this community, both sort of in witnessing my energy as I move through the community, as well as hearing the stories of others, is that, I think as, highly sensitive entrepreneur, I don't know, maybe all entrepreneurs, but definitely highly sensitive, is that you're in this moment of like, I want more business, I want more volume, I want more growth. And then as soon as that growth starts to come in, you're like, wait a minute, I don't have enough time. And so it's like this constant push-pull. And so what I noticed for myself is like I was saying this, and then when that started to come in, I was feeling that pressure. And so then was almost wishing away what I had so much wanted to wish for. And so once I understood this, and really started to properly manage the energy around that, as well as just day to day, frankly, then things started to open up again. More joy started to come in, being able to tap into those intuition strengths and really starting to show up in that grounded power that you mentioned that you've seen in me. Like that's when that really became possible. And so I look at energy management, I kind of, thinking about sort of psychology, I think about it as the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Like, as a highly sensitive, this is the foundation base. If you don't have that, you really can't go to the next level. Anything that you're doing at the next level, you're going to fall back. And so, really, really working on getting that foundation in place and whatever works best for you. I think the expression of that energy management is different for each person, but getting it into that foundational base is just so key to really opening yourself up for success.
Absolutely. It makes all the difference. And I know, as you know, that I teach that, energy management and the way that I designed it and teach it is so it supports us in being proactive so that we can respond to the massive input of energy information that just is part of being self-employed versus where so many highly sensitives are in a space of reacting and then using some type of soothing as a way to recover. So it really flips that paradigm. And I so appreciate the way that you've spoken about it. Brianna, where can people find out more about the fabulous you?
Well, there's two sources. So one, I am an avid user of LinkedIn and love to create new relationships there and learn and share with each other on that forum. And so I would definitely invite people to, if they are on LinkedIn, to certainly go and connect with me. It's Brianna Sylver. Just type that in. And then second, if people are interested in really checking out more around the offerings and how basically we do support organizations to lead the transformation of their brands and to do that in a highly sensitive nature, then I would invite them to go and check out our company website, which is sylverconsulting.com, and that is spelled Sylver Consulting.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, it has just been so fantastic to, one, just have this additional time to connect with you, but two, to really feature you, as a highly sensitive entrepreneur who's just really creating both that inner and outer success for herself. And I'm so excited just where you are going to continue to grow from here. So thank you so much for being part of the Business Miracles podcast and being part of the community. It's such an honor to work as your mentor, Brianna.
Oh, thank you, Heather. I mean, you have really just been such a pivotal force in my life in probably way more ways than what you even are aware. And I'm so grateful that I came across you and certainly, have just been delighted by where I am today as a result of your support. So thank you.
So welcome. Beautiful. Thank you. And until next time.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of A Course in Business Miracles. If you're ready to learn how to use your highly sensitive abilities to support you in being purposeful, profitable, and empowered rather than scattered, poor, and undervalued, take my free self-quiz to find out if you are indeed a highly sensitive entrepreneur. And if you are, along with your quiz results, you'll receive my free HSE Success Guide, which will teach you how to have your highly sensitive abilities working for you to create the results you desire in your business. Take the quiz and receive your free success guide now at www.hsequiz.com.